Have you ever felt like something is out of sync? Even when, on paper, your life seems fine? Maybe you have a stable job, a family that cares about you, maybe even some financial stability. From the outside, it looks like you should feel content. And yet, on the inside, there's this quiet friction, this heaviness that never really leaves. Carl Rogers, one of the most influential humanistic psychologists, would say that this feeling comes from how you move through your phenomenal field, your unique way of experiencing the world. When something is off in that field, life feels harder than it should. Think about your mornings. Do you ever notice how it takes a surprising amount of energy just to get up and move into your day? It feels like you're pushing yourself into a role rather than naturally flowing into your life. Motivation becomes like a daily workout. You have to force it. And deep down, a whisper tells you, the script I'm living, it might not even be mine. It's like wearing a mask that isn't meant for you. Not a light mask for fun or performance, but something heavy, rigid, and exhausting. Imagine this. You're holding a large mask to your face with both hands, and you have to keep holding it all the time. Now ask yourself, how would you move through life like that? How would you eat, work, or hug someone if both your hands are always busy holding the mask? Everything becomes clumsy, heavy, and unnatural. That's what it feels like when you're living as someone you're not. You might smile, you might even appear fine to others, but inside, your energy is drained because your hands are tied up with pretending. And the worst part? Over time, you start forgetting what your real face even looks like. But here's the deeper question. Who handed you this mask in the first place? Was it society, whispering that you're only valuable if you have the right degree, the right body, the right job? Was it your parents teaching you, maybe without realizing it, that love comes when you behave, achieve, or sacrifice? Or maybe you created it yourself because somewhere along the way you believed you had to become someone else in order to be loved. And why do we keep wearing it? Fear. Fear of losing approval. Fear of being seen as not enough. Or maybe habit. The mask has been there for so long that you no longer remember where it ends and you begin. So ask yourself, if you let go of the mask, what would really be lost? Would you lose people who only loved the mask, not you? Would you lose an identity built on expectations? Or would you finally lose only the weight that's been suffocating you? Carl Rogers had a name for this mask, the ideal self. It's the version of you that you think you're supposed to be. The person who's always confident, successful, polite, likable, flawless. And here's the painful truth. You built it yourself. Why? Because you wanted love. You wanted respect. You wanted to feel accepted. And so, little by little, you built this perfect version of you. Think back to your childhood. Were you praised when you achieved, but ignored when you struggled? Were you accepted when you were polite, but scolded when you spoke your truth? These are moments of what Rogers called conditional positive regard, when love is only given under certain conditions. And so you learned, I'll only be loved if I'm this way. And in response, you began hiding pieces of your real self and replacing them with the traits that won approval. Over time, this becomes your ideal self, not who you really are, but who you feel you must be in order to be worthy. The problem is, the longer you wear this mask, the more it defines your self-worth. You start believing that you are only valuable when you meet those conditions, that love and respect must always be earned. And here's the tragedy. In doing this, you move further away from what Rogers called the organismic valuing process, the natural inner compass you were born with. Think of it like your inner GPS. When you're in touch with it, you instinctively know what feels right, what excites you, what gives you meaning. But when you're lost in expectations, you ignore that GPS. You follow other people's directions, even if they're leading you far from where you're meant to be. This is what Rogers described as incongruence, the painful gap between the real self and the ideal self. And the consequences are not small. When the effort of holding the mask drains you, when exhaustion sets in, the mind begins to collapse. Anxiety, depression, and even neurosis can appear. And this isn't random. It's the natural result of living too far away from yourself. But Rogers wasn't hopeless. He believed every human being carries within them a natural drive to grow and unfold, what he called the actualizing tendency. Think of a seed, left in the right soil. It doesn't have to be told how to grow. It knows. It reaches for sunlight, draws from water, and naturally becomes the tree it was meant to be. Rogers believed the same is true for people. Within you is the impulse to become your real self. This isn't about perfection or becoming some polished version of yourself. It's about unfolding into who you already are at your core. When you drop the heavy mask and tune back into your inner GPS, your organismic valuing process, you realign with that natural flow of growth. You don't have to force it. You simply create the space, and your real self emerges. And when that happens, life feels different. Truly different. The heaviness lifts. You no longer need to drag yourself into each day. Motivation isn't something you have to squeeze out of yourself. It becomes unnecessary. You just know what to do. Think of times when you've been in the zone, completely absorbed in something you love, whether it's writing, cooking, music, or even a deep conversation. Hours pass, but it feels effortless. That's what life in congruence feels like, not just in moments, but across your whole existence. There's no confusion, no endless inner battle, no friction with your own being. Growth stops being a desperate chase and becomes a natural unfolding. You move forward not because you're forcing yourself, but because that's simply what life does when it's aligned. It grows, and in that alignment, you grow too effortlessly, authentically, and with deep inner peace. But here's the key. We don't always grow alone. Just like a seed needs soil, water, and sunlight, humans need the right environment to flourish. Rogers believed there are 3 core conditions that allow people to actualize. The first is congruence, realness, genuineness. When someone shows up authentically without a mask, it gives you permission to do the same. The second is unconditional positive regard, acceptance without strings. Love that says, you are valuable not because of what you achieve, but simply because you exist. And the third is empathic understanding, the ability to step into someone else's world, to feel their experience as if it were your own, without judgment. When these conditions are present from a therapist, a parent, a friend, or even cultivated within yourself, growth becomes almost inevitable. The mask loosens, the real self emerges, and life moves toward wholeness. So the journey into the self is really the journey back home, back to your real self, your inner compass, your natural flow of growth. The mask may have been heavy, but it was never truly you. And when you strip it away, you don't lose yourself, you finally find yourself. This is what Carl Rogers dedicated his life to teaching, that with the right conditions, every human being can grow, heal, and actualize. And this is just the beginning. Stay tuned, because in the next video we'll explore the characteristics of a self-actualized person. What life looks like when you finally reach that state of congruence and inner freedom. Until then, keep journeying inward.